Okay, roll call for item 6, discuss video gaming license request for 350 Brewing Company. Trustee Berg.
Yes, I'm here.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante. Trustee Galante, are you on the line?
Sorry, yeah, I'm sorry. I had on mute. Sorry.
You got to vote.
Is your vote aye, nay? I'll move on. Trustee Glutz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Clerk,
Yes.
hearing.
Yes.
Can you confirm what the vote is going on right now? When you started the roll call, none of us. I couldn't hear what the vote was for.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was attendance.
All right, I will start again. I'm recalling the roll for item 6. Discuss video gaming license request for 350 Brewing Company. I will start the roll call now with Trustee Berg.
Abstain.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glutz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 7, discuss Oak Park Avenue Grant Program revisions. Priscilla, you're up.
Thank you, Trustee Glatz. So as you all know, in May 2018, the village began offering the Oak Park Playbook, a series of 5 grants specifically designed to encourage downtown Tinley business owners to invest in and improve their respective properties. Since the inception of the program, we have awarded over $250,000 in grants. Staff have had discussions to reevaluate the program, and the Economic and Commercial Commission has had several meetings as well as to how we can make improvements to the program. These are the revisions that came out of those discussions and were unanimously recommended for approval by the ECC at the May 11th, 2020 meeting, with the exception of how often the grant should be capped. Grant approvals will be null and void if the project is not completed within 12 months of grant approval. It is possible to come back to the board for an extension. We're recommending eliminating the landscape grant program. Signed grants will be reviewed by community development staff with recommendation for approval to the village board. We're also recommending removing the clawback requirement from the retail grant. And as far as the cap on the property, it remains to be $70,000, but the discussion was whether that should be per year or every 3 years. 5 commissioners voted for the grant to be capped at $70,000 per property per year, and 3 voted for the grant to be capped at $70,000 per property every 3 years. Staff has expressed concerns regarding properties applying for up to $70,000 each year, noting that an applicant could apply for a grant in May, be awarded $70,000, and then again in June, different fiscal year, for another $70,000, and thereby awarded $140,000 for the same project. It is our hope that with limiting the cap to every 3 years, more properties can be improved in the district. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, Priscilla, I think it should be capped at 70,000.
It is.
Period. Unless it's a new owner, not once a year, not every year, every 3 years, 70,000, period. Unless there's a change of ownership.
Okay.
You know, how many times are we gonna let someone ring that bell? Any, Trustee Berg, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, you've eliminated, totally. This is Trustee Berg. You eliminated the landscape grant, so you're knocked down to 4 of those now currently. And these are not TIF eligible projects, so I think that I would like to keep it as is.
Can I make a comment on the reason for eliminating the grant, the landscape grant? the program was underutilized, so staff and the ECC thought it would be best to shift those resources funds to the other grant programs. It would also help simplify the grants offered to make things easier for property owners. And we wanted to focus on fixed improvements to properties, and eliminating the landscape grant would allow us to do so. Further, the facade grant, landscaping is actually an eligible expense within the facade grant. So it's kind of redundant to have a separate grant for that.
So it
Purpose.
wasn't removed, it was just categorized under one of the other grants. So if another business didn't want to use the landscape money as part of their 70, how it was set up, they could use more for, fires, for sprinklers or whatever, correct? So it's not removed, being separate grant, it's removed. It was moved into another part of the grant program.
Yeah, it was, according to all our materials and application and everything, it was always part of the facade grant as an eligible expense.
Perfect. Okay. Trustee Brady?
You mentioned it was underutilized. Was there a reason for that? Are people aware of it, that it was there for them,
Well, as you know, Trustee Brady, I started in March. I believe people were aware of it. We marketed it just as much as the other programs. I think the focus was on the facade and code compliance, and that's where the need was. We only did one landscape grant.
Okay. I mean, I understand what Trustee Glatz asked and how it was switched over, but I just wonder why it wasn't used before,
I wonder if it's mostly because the businesses, the front of their store is concrete. It's all sidewalk, a lot
Yeah.
of them.
Could be.
Yeah, some of them don't have it, but that's probably why, I would guess.
Makes sense.
Is Paula on the line? Hey, Paula?
Yes.
Do you have any idea that you recall if the landscape grant possibly wasn't used just because a lot of the businesses have concrete sidewalks in front of them, or any other reason?
I really can't posit on why they did or didn't apply. I think one of the other considerations in eliminating it is that we're looking for giving out money to various developments to improve the value of the property and increase the EAV in the corridor. Now, obviously, landscaping, you know how I feel about landscaping. I do love landscaping, but we're looking to get the biggest bang for our buck and provide ways to put investment into the building stock and into the property so that there's a return to the TIF district through increased increment. And so that's why we didn't want to sort of devote one whole program just to landscaping, which unfortunately can come and go and not necessarily give us the best return on our investment.
Thank you, Paula. Trustee Brennan?
Yeah, I'd be in favor of every 3 years. Every 3 years, or I think the village should be a partner and not a full-fledged partner by giving away too much. So I think we can assist these business owners, and I think the program's been a success. But I think that we shouldn't be financing projects essentially. So I think I'd support every 3 years or 70,000 total, like Trustee Glatz said. So I think the every 1 year is a bit too much. So.
Trustee Galante?
I think I'm going to agree with what Bill just said. Every 3 years, I don't like it at 1 year. We already went over that at other meetings. But I think more than once ever is definitely justified. If they want to invest more into their building later on, I think we should help them. So if it's 3 years, if that seems reasonable, and that's what's being recommended, that's what I would agree with too.
Trustee Mueller?
Yeah, I just want to thank the staff in the ECC. There was a lot of discussion and a lot of work that went into the plan that you're seeing in front of you. And I think they did make some really good changes to what we know is already a good program within Tinley Park that's really helping these businesses in our downtown district. I think that the biggest part of what we're seeing here is that we're removing soft costs, and we're ensuring that all the monies that are going towards this program are going to permanent investments in the downtown of Tinley Park. And I love the removal of the clawback, which I think would have been very difficult to administer and get those monies back. I'm more of the opinion of every year. I think the board has some discretion with those that are coming, and I think the addition of the applicant needing to attend the ECC meeting to talk through those types of things could help mitigate those. But I certainly don't want to get rid of a lot of hard work here. So I'd be more than in favor of the every 3 years. Priscilla, I wasn't able to attend the last ECC meeting. Do you feel the ECC would have voted unanimously on every 3 years if the other option was just once?
It's difficult to say.
Okay. But it definitely seemed like the ECC as a whole wanted businesses to be able to come back and invest in their properties and get some help from the village from that, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay. So I'm perfect with everything here, and I'll support the every 3 years as well.
Thanks, Mike. So we have 3 options, so I'll go first. So our options are once every year, once every 3 years, or cap it at 70,000 per owner. So I'll go first. I'm leaning towards one time. I don't think we should be giving them multiple times to keep ringing that bell, especially when we might have other new businesses that may want to get it as well, startup. So I'm for once per ownership. Trustee Berg?
I'll just clarify, 1 year, 3 year, and a cap of 70,000 is what you're saying. There's no 1 year cap at 70, 3 year cap at 70.
It's 70 every year. It's 70 every 3 years, or 70 years, or 70,000 total, one time. I'm in favor of
Well,
one
it's
time.
hard. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, so I'm in favor of one time. 70,000, that's it. Not every year, not every 3 years.
Well, I sort of am at a favor of 70 because of the economy currently.
Okay.
So I'm going to say 70 cap.
Thank you, Cindy. Trustee Brady.
I go along with the 3 years.
Okay, Trustee Brennan.
Looking forward, I would go 3 years. I agree that in our current situation, it's a little difficult to, I agree with Trustee Berg that it's a little difficult to gauge, but I think long-term, I think every 3 years is good.
Thanks, Bill. Trustee Galante.
Every 3 years.
Trustee Mueller.
Every 3 years.
Perfect. Okay, so we have, just so Pat, you know, for writing this up, we have 4 people in favor of doing it every 3 years. So I'll make a motion to go with the cap to every 3 years.
And I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Mike. Madam Clerk, you please call the roll.
Roll call vote for item 7, Oak Park Avenue Grant Program Revisions. Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes,
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8, discuss amending rental code in light of Cook County just housing ordinance. Chief Walsh, you can give us.
Yes, thank you. As you know, the Village of Tinley Park has a crime-free housing department as well as ordinance that has been very successful. The Cook County Board of Commissioners recently passed the Just Housing Ordinance that would limit the landlord's ability to conduct background checks, and landlords will be unable to use criminal convictions as a reason for denial of a tenant application. The Just Housing Ordinance does allow those that have a home rule communities with an existing crime-free housing ordinance the ability to amend their ordinance, and it would supersede the Just Housing Ordinance. So I am requesting that we modify the current rental code to allow the ability to conduct criminal background checks on prospective tenants. It would benefit the owners and landlords of the rental properties, and that they would not have to abide by the current Just Housing Ordinance and their restrictive requirements. It would further benefit the village in protecting and preserving the neighborhood's public health, safety, and welfare of all residents by requiring these criminal background checks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Oh, Madam Clerk?
This is a two-step process. This is Trustee Berg, isn't it? For the landowner, the leasee, whatever you call it.
Two-step process, I don't understand that. What we're trying to do, Trustee Berg, was just put in some amendments that would allow us to continue basically to operate as we have been, to conduct the background checks as we have been. The Just Housing Ordinance would limit us to only 3 years, and we would like to continue to do it as extensive as the landlord would like to.
Okay, so that's what I was asking. The landlord has to go through a process in step one, and then at step two, they're allowed to actually find out through a criminal background check whether or not that person has had an occurrence that would preclude them, aside from the child sexual predator aspect, right?
Right. And what right now, they have the ability to do these background checks. The Just Housing just would really restrict landlords because they could no longer, in the applications, ask about a criminal background. Only after the landlord pre-qualified the applicant, the landlord can then do a criminal background check. It really hamstrings the landlord. We just want to operate as we've been operating. It's been very successful. We've had a lot of success with removing people that committed crimes in these various rental properties, and we'd like to continue to do so.
Very good. So 3 years, you won't see something 4 years ago that could be pretty bad.
Exactly. If someone was incarcerated for 4 years, they obviously didn't do anything for 3 of those years, and we wouldn't know, and they come back clean.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mitt.
Thanks, Cindy. Thanks, Chief. Madam Clerk, so, sorry? No, she's done. So I'll make a motion to move that to the board. I have a second.
I'll second that motion.
Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Roll call vote for item 8. Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Number 9. Discuss sexual harassment policy ordinance Workplace Transparency Act. Who's going to take that one?
Trustee Glass, this is Dave. I'm asking that that be tabled
Okay.
to the next meeting.
Okay. Table number 9. Thanks, Dave. Item number 10. John Urbanski, are you on the line?
Yes, sir.
The GIS, when do we have to sign this contract? And how long is it for?
I'm not heading off this portion of the GIS. I believe that would be Pat Carr's project.
I think
Okay,
since it was
Pat?
tabled, they weren't prepared.
So what this is before you is a modification of the current contract.
For how long?
What's that?
For how long and starting when?
It's starting July 1 and goes to December 31st of this year. It
So-
modifies the current contract that we signed back in January.
For 6 months.
Goes for 6 months for temporary, for budget measures for cost reduction.
Okay.
So that's what this one is to, reduces the monthly rate down, just for some cost reduction.
Okay, how much were you reducing it?
Reducing it probably about $7,000.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Couldn't quite hear him at the end there. How many thousands
I
of
can't
dollars?
hear him either.
People get everybody on mute? So it's gonna be about $7,500 from about $13,000 a month, so we're reducing it about $6,000.
Thank you, Pat.
Cindy, could you hear that?
Not really, Michael. Pat, can you get a little closer? I just wrote down that it's $144,883, and it's only for 5 months. Give me the scoop.
He's gonna try it one more time.
The scoop is, we currently have GIS in our offices 5 days a week. We're reducing it down to 2 days a week. And if we need to have additional projects done, we could always call upon them, but we're going down to the 2 day a week, two day a week process, so that'll come out to about $8,000 a month.
So we're going from 5 days to 2 days, Cindy?
It's a budget number that we have in there for the 154 that allows us any additional
Okay, got
money.
it.
Yeah.
We'll be saving about $7,000 to $8,000.
Thanks, guys. I
per
was
month.
unclear on that. It's based on the scope of work. I get it.
Great. I'll make a motion to move it to the board to change the contract.
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Berg, I'll second.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Roll call vote for item number 10. Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 11, receive comments from the public. Were there any written public comments or requests to speak telephonically received? So Laura, does Steve want to speak at the board meeting, or Kyle, or both? What? Okay, so Steve doesn't want to speak for this one. Okay. So we don't have any requests for the Kyle for public comment? No. Okay, thank you. I'll make a motion to adjourn the special committee of the whole at 8:32 PM. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion is carried at 8:32. We are adjourned.